Cartoons. Nothing more innocent than sitting down on your couch watching the exploits of colorful, animated characters going on one wacky adventure after another. Or, well, you'd think it was that way, but apparently the strangest things can set people off in various corners of the world, resulting in these animated adventures having specific episodes or even the whole show outright banned or taken off the air. From the usual, sadly predictable causes to the more bizarre, let's take a look at why these 10 cartoons in particular got hit with the dreaded ban.
You put your lips together and blow. Like this.
Just to prove that no cartoon is safe from bans all around the world, let's set our sights on a British children's television sensation, the inescapable Peppa Pig. Sure, nothing this innocent could possibly stir controversy, right? Well, maybe not the show itself, but the various grotesque memes and strange YouTube videos surrounding it managed to get it banned in China. And no, we aren't showing any of those because, good God. Supposedly, all these dark jokes related to the character, quote, promotes a gangster culture of slackers and poorly educated people, end quote. Yeah, I'm as confused as you are. Meanwhile, Australia had a slightly more understandable reason for banning a specific episode, namely Mr. Skinny Legs, where Peppa learns that house spiders are harmless. While that may be true in Britain, Australian wildlife being what it is, the country is home to some truly terrifying poisonous spiders that you do not want to find crawling around your living room. So, yeah, good call, mates. Pokemon is no stranger to controversy. You've probably all heard the stories of how it was accused of promoting Satanism and witchcraft in the US, since it was a show all about summoning creatures with special abilities, or how the episode Electric Soldier Porygon gave hundreds of kids in Japan seizures, but one country that outright banned the anime series as a whole would be Saudi Arabia, because the concept of Pokemon evolving to new forms was seen as promoting Darwin's theory of evolution, which goes against the fundamental Islamic doctrine. Pokemon Go also came under fire for promoting gambling and polytheism, which, for those of you who don't know, is the belief in more than one god. Sorry, Pokemon, this is one corner of the world your franchise will never conquer. Proving that a cartoon doesn't have to be made for children in order to stir up some trouble, we have that never-ending sitcom to end all sitcoms, The Simpsons. Despite how generally family-friendly it is seen as being today, it really did take many risks and had more edge than most comedy series airing on TV back when it debuted. Naturally, such a show is hardly afraid of poking fun at just about everyone and everything. But China felt they went one step too far when they started doing stories that featured the ever-politically active Lisa Simpson supporting the Tibetan independence movement. Granted, that's not the only joke about the, let's just say, complicated relationship China has with Tibet. In one episode, we get a glance at the nearest Chinatown and find out that it features a neighborhood called Tibet Town, which has barbed wire around it. Clearly, China did not find this funny at all and were quick to ban the series entirely for it. Dope! There's a good chance that even if you've never actually seen the show, you are still familiar with the two teenage numbskulls Beavis and Butthead and their hilarious take on music criticism that aired on MTV back in the early 90s. These two wienerheads, as one content disclaimer so affectionately calls them, were actually a pretty big deal, quickly becoming a huge pop culture phenomenon, and apparently enticing children to commit arson. In 1993, a 5-year-old boy in Ohio set fire to his home, which tragically resulted in the death of his 2-year-old sister. According to the boy's mother, he loved watching Beavis and Butthead, which often sees Beavis expressing a pyromaniac streak, particularly in the episode The Comedians. Episodes focusing on Beavis's fascination with fire were quickly removed from the air, and the show was scrubbed pretty much completely clean of references to it in other episodes. Mom had a chicken, Mom had a cow, this show got banned, and we want to know how. Well, it's actually not all that strange, all things considered. This surreal 90s Cartoon Network classic already rubbed a lot of people the wrong way all over the board, with its constant gross-out humor style and its endless sexual innuendos, and I am sure that this bright red shiny butt belonging to a literal devil didn't help matters either. But neither the show's cheek or the characters' cheeks are what got this show banned in India. Cows are famously considered sacred animals there, and the big bovines are not to be disturbed or messed with in any way. And since the show was just as eager to throw painful slapstick at cow as it was with chicken, it certainly didn't sit well with the Indian population, resulting in the show getting a ban. The episode Buffalo Gals didn't fare well in the US either, since the entire episode is not just absolutely packed with sexual innuendos, but also relies heavily on less than flattering lesbian stereotypes. Sometimes a cartoon's controversy is, I guess you could say, territorial. When Shrek became a massive hit all over the world, a sequel wasn't far behind, and it was happy to indulge in more risque humor than most of the other animated movies at the time. Countries that dubbed the film followed suit, throwing in jokes about local celebrities wherever they could. Well, in Israel, that led to a line where a character threatens to do a David Doer on someone, implying that they intend to castrate him and give him a high-pitched voice like the popular Israeli singer. Well, Doer did not take too kindly to the joke and subsequently sued the distributors. The film was pulled while the case went on, and eventually it returned with the line changed to the much more direct, "Let's take a sword and neuter him." Have fun imagining Shrek characters castrating people, kids! Okay, back to something more innocent, like, say, Winnie the Pooh. After all, it's a delightful franchise based around a children's book series starring a young boy playing with all his stuffed animals named after the actual toys belonging to the author's son. How could that possibly offend anyone? Well, if it can do it in any way, it's apparently by constantly implying that someone looks like the silly old bear. China's president Xi Jinping has long been the target of various memes that liken his appearance to the Tubby Teddy, and he famously absolutely loathes this comparison, resulting in just about anything related to Winnie the Pooh himself being banned in China. This includes any and all media that happens to so much as reference the memes in question, like what infamously happened with the Taiwanese indie horror game Devotion back in 2018, which had one such meme as a placeholder art asset that the developers forgot to remove before release. You'd never think such a friendly little bear could make anyone this angry. In the most modern example on our list, we have the Cartoon Network hit Steven Universe, which was widely hailed for its handling of any number of real-world issues that rarely get touched upon in cartoons. In particular, the show is praised for how progressive and inclusive it is, featuring plenty of characters who span all across the LGBTQ+ community. In fact, it holds the distinction of being one of the very, very few cartoons to openly show a same-sex wedding. But, sadly and predictably, this has caused the show to come under massive fire in many places. Kenya in particular outright banned the show, as according to LGBTQ rights researcher Neela Ghoshal, Kenya's courts consider same-sex couples second-class citizens and their lifestyle outright illegal. In the theme song to this early 90s classic, Buster Bunny brags, "We crack up all the censors." And, well, yeah, that may be true, but you also have a real knack for ticking them off with nothing more than a single bottle of beer. See, back in the 1980s, there was a big push for cartoons in America to include educational material and strong moral values, resulting in the production of any number of PSAs about basically any and all subjects you could possibly imagine. In particular, warning children against doing drugs and drinking alcohol were prevalent. Tiny Toon Adventures, never being a show that shied away from satire, decided to take these PSAs to their absolute extreme in the aptly titled One Beer, where Buster, Plucky, and Hampton share a single bottle of beer from Buster's parents' fridge. This almost instantly turns the three of them into obnoxiously loud, bumbling, sexist idiots, and before you know it, they steal a police car and kill themselves by drunk driving right off a cliff. The episode was clearly meant to be an exaggeration, not to be taken at all seriously, but not even showing the characters walking off set talking about how on the nose the whole thing was saved the episode from being almost instantly banned. You'd think a Batman show that tries to recapture the carefree, silly Silver Age of comic books would be safer from scrutiny than The Dark Knight usually is, but nope! Batman Brave and the Bold still managed to have one episode that the censors just couldn't handle. In The Mask of Matches Malone, a trio consisting of Catwoman, Huntress, and Black Canary get busted while trying to sneak into one of Two-Face's hideouts, and quickly decide to pretend to be lounge singers in order to get out of their predicament. And that would be fine if the song wasn't a solid 3-minute-long joke about how not one superhero other than Batman has anything whatsoever going on underneath those brightly colored undies of theirs. From The Flash being too fast to Aquaman's little fish, the innuendos proved too much, and the episode was delayed from airing in order to animate an alternate shot to replace a particular hand gesture from Huntress. Sorry folks, teeny superhero weenie jokes are for paying customers only.
What can I say? I'm a girl with a taste for only the finest.
Oh, give me a break.
Well, all this just goes to show that wherever you are and whatever you're watching, you better enjoy your cartoons while you got 'em, people. Clearly, you just never know what can catch someone's attention in the worst ways and get all of your favorite shows immediately pulled off the air. But hey, at least these bizarre bands make good stories for videos like these.